to my channel. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. It's been a second here, and I just hope you understand. I think I've explained why there's this break in posting here. But anyways, how is everybody doing? I hope you are doing well. How is life? It's not easy for anybody, and it's just really unfair, but then we're just made to understand that it's life, so we have to live through it, you know. But sometimes it's really crazy, but however it is, I hope you're doing well. I hope you are managing yourself the best way that you can, and I hope that you have this place and you know that it gets better even with all the struggles and all the craziness and everything. So today I'm just going to speak on something quickly, then basically, so something happened recently. Well, today is Sunday, so for anyone that's played previous videos, you know that I make use of Sundays where I don't have to go for the same mass with my parents, so I try to utilize that time, which is what I'm doing now. Sometimes I use it to cook, but I have other things I want to do, so this is my only personal time, so I try to use it wisely. So today is Sunday, as the time of recording this video. So this past week has actually been very draining emotionally, and I really don't understand, but I guess everything happens for a reason, obviously. But sometimes it's really hard. So the week was crazy. For the first few days it was okay, then remaining days was just it was mad. So on the Thursday, my colleague had an accident. She's expecting, and she had an accident, and guys, my heart sank, and I didn't even know the best way to because she was in so much pain, and she had to contact me to let me know that she wasn't able to come to work, or she wasn't going to come to work at all for the remaining days. And honestly, I was very scared because bro, what the hell? But the scenario of how the accident happened is really bad, but then she's getting better now. Then on Friday, right, I was cramping. Yes, I was on my period this past week, but I usually don't cramp on my fourth day. Even on the third day, it means that something is obviously wrong. I usually cramp that first and second day. The first day it's crazy. It's like bomb wants to explode, so the pain is very, very severe. I try not to take medications, but sometimes I do when it is just too much. So that morning it was unusual. I started having pains on my leg. So guys, I think last month I did a test, and it turns out that I had malaria. But the symptoms of that malaria was very unusual, because it was usually not what I was used to. But this time around, it blew me off, and I was really scared. Now, one of the big symptoms was that I was having yeah, it has never happened before. It has never happened before. So I was really lost. It got so bad I had to take a medication that I've never taken before, just because of the pain. Try not to speak about the drug here, so that this channel is not looked at, but I took that medication. It helped me, but it just really just threw me off balance. So this Friday now, I was having that pain, but then on the left side of my leg, and I started panicking. What's going on? I usually don't cramp on my fourth day when my best friend come. Yeah, I call my monthly periods best friend, because babe can be very disrespectful, but it's something we have to live with until she decides to retire. God keep us alive, keep me alive. So I was having that same pain, that muscle ache. Like, it was so funny when I was sick last month. People kept asking, is it your joint? I'm like, no, it's not my joint, it's my muscle. They are paining me. It really sounded strange, but when I told my dad is like, yeah, he thinks it's cold, it's malaria. I was like, this one shall not happen to me. So on this Friday, that was the kind of pain I was having. And then I tell my friend at the hospital, he's like the go-to person I run to when I have issues. And then he's like, raise your left hand and shake it like this, that you're going to be fine. In fact, from the house, I wasn't even feeling myself. I had a slight headache, and then I decided to rest my head because I usually go to work around 9. So I decided to rest my head, Bro, that's how I rested. I woke up 9:33. I was confused. I had not even decided what to wear that Friday. I was like, what's going on? I literally just opened my drawer, just found something, a trouser, a shirt, and then I took like a cardigan, and then I left the house. Like, I was confused. And I usually like throw to work, so that morning was just really off. And I couldn't understand it, right? Well, went to work, that happened, asked me to raise my hand, I did that. I was in so much pain. My friend kept saying something else. I'm like, no, it's not it. I'm not used to this. Like, this is strange. So he gets his staff to help me get paracetamol. I took it. After I took it, I was actually now feeling better, My day was still kind of slow because the weather right now in Abuja is really messy. And then I wonder how Lagosians are coping. But the weather is messy. You don't know when next is going to rain, when the long drizzling will start, everything. And walking outside is terrible. So, I go back outside to work. I registered one parent or one child, and I was just there. It was terribly cold. I was bored because my colleague is not around. So my friend from inside came out. It was his birthday, so we were just chatting and all. And then my friend's call came through. I couldn't pick because someone came for birth certificate, so I couldn't pick at that point. So after the lady left, she didn't have the requirements, so I couldn't issue for her. I called my friend back. Now, speaking to my friend, it was like her voice was quiet. She was quiet, and then she was slow. And then the first thing she asked me is, "Where am I? What are you doing?" I'm like, okay, you're scaring me. My heart started beating. Like, what happened? And then she breaks it down to me that our friend had just passed. And in a split second, I didn't know how to express myself. For a moment, I was like, you mean? Like, I called her name. She's like, yeah. I was like, what happened? She's like, she wasn't sure yet, but recently she got in touch with her. She literally asked her to pray for her and everything. And then her mom is like reminding her that Friday morning, have you called your friend? So calling her, the phone was ringing, there was no pickup. And then my friend is closer to her. We're classmates and friends, but this particular person is closer to the one that just passed. So because of the relationship we have, their parents know themselves. So my friend had the other friends and parents' number. So she calls her friend's dad, and then the dad is like, this is what is going on, and it's terrible. So this week has indeed been it's just not easy because I'm like someone like me that remembers a lot. I'm left with flashbacks. I'm left with memories. I'm remembering a lot. I don't even want to go to my Google pictures and then look at her own profile, because there's a way Google like do your pictures. Everybody, as far as you like snap to someone or you have someone's picture, there's a way it arranges the pictures for you. So I haven't even gone there. I don't even know what to say. and it's just really crazy and painful. And I know when people found out, when our other university mates found out, it was a rude shock. It was a rude shock, and I really didn't want to immediately start my reiteration about the importance of parents, the importance of people, couples knowing their genotypes and everything. But apparently people already started posting that, and I just felt like now that is on my mind, I should also add my voice here on YouTube. I have a podcast already on this, and the podcast is literally what intending couples should do medically before getting married. I'm going to put a link to that podcast in the description box, so please do well to listen to it and also share. People really need to be aware of these things and actually make decisions that will save them in life. Now people will argue that yes, parents back then, they didn't know what they were supposed to do medically before they get married. It was just I love you, or they see you for the first time. There are cases like that. I know people who have kids who are SS. Is terrible. Coming to that realization is terrible. But now in trying to change all that, from not knowing to now being in a time where we are literally exposed to a lot of information, I really don't see the reason why some young persons will still want to put themselves in such situations. Countless times people in the medical field try to tell every other person that, look, see, you really need to know your genotype. And when you know your genotype, when you start to liking somebody and it's turning to a big relationship, you really should, start medically, find out specific things, so that when you now allow yourself to love, you are loving the person holistically without doubt or fear of that or denying yourself the truth, basically. So please, young people, love is a beautiful thing. It's amazing. I can't even imagine how it feels when you have that person, your person by your side, and you are doing life with that person. I just have imaginations in my head. I'm hoping to get there. You know what I mean? But I really don't see a reason why you should love blindly. Now there's a Clubhouse, and there's a community on Clubhouse. It's called Catholics Hub. Just in case you're listening and you're Catholic and you want to join us, just search Catholic Hub and you join us. We have activities every day. In fact, almost every 2 hours we have an activity, and I'm really grateful for that community so far. We are growing and God has been good. Yesterday, one of us was ordained a priest. It's amazing. So one of the conversations we had, because we usually have like heart-to-heart conversations, I will call it heart-to-heart conversations, but on the community we call it elders room. So it's more like those of us that know ourselves, or like it's like an after prayer section. Yeah, so after all the prayers for the day, some of us might want to chat. So one of those conversations, this genotype thing came up, and luckily enough, that was when I had made that podcast talking about genotype, like things couples should do, and stuff. And people were talking about it. Someone was arguing that with the level of science and technology, things can be done, blah blah blah. I'm like, from the get-go, don't. Yes, don't. Because if you know and then you go in, there are other factors too to consider, aside if you really want to go ahead with that, your RH factor. Like, there's so many things that goes wrong when you already know, and but then you really just want to key in yourself. I told the person, I'm like, no, I'm not a medical staff, but I work in a hospital and I have the privilege of communicating with people. So I have been told no from the beginning. No. In fact, we not even made it a joke that once you see a fine girl, you see a fine boy, and then it looks like something wants to start, the first thing you say, please, what's your genotype? Respectfully. And I feel like if you're not dating and you want to date and you see someone that you really like, and you feel, I feel like when you see someone you want to date, asking the person straight up what's your genotype is not an insult. Yeah, it's not an insult. If the person's reaction towards that question is somehow, I think you really need to watch where you're headed, because we're in a place where nobody, I mean, there are so many memes. The summary of those memes are like, I don't want to suffer in this life. I just want to enjoy. I just want to have money in my account, be able to travel here, be able to afford this, afford that. So if you want to be in that space, which obviously, including me, I want to be in, why do you not want to blindly bring in something that is going to drain you, literally? So meeting someone for the first time, asking them straight up, because you can meet someone and instantly you already have affection towards them and you're really looking forward to. So directly or indirectly, just find out what the person's genotype is. Now, if I go ahead telling you the stories behind this genotype thing, like I literally have someone at the hospital that she comes in. She's a friend to my friend at the hospital, so she comes time to time and like she discusses. She really wants to get married, you know. So the first person, well, she has had different encounters, but like since I started working in the hospital, I knew of one. I didn't see his face, but I knew there was a man in her life. She's AS. I'm AS myself, and the man also is AS. The man really loved her, but my friend at the hospital is like, no, yes, there are other fishes in the river. It was hard because they really loved themselves. They really, you know, they've gone far. And then for a woman who really wants to get married, certain things don't seem to bother her, because all she really wants to do is get married, live wherever it is that she's staying. Because you know, it gets to a point as an adult, you just want your own space. So I think she wasn't even thinking towards that. You know, they kept on consulting my friend, is there not something we can do? My friend is like, no, save yourself the pain now, not later. So as bad as it was, they had to separate. Well, there's someone in her life now, and he's AA. So I'm hoping that, you know, something happens. Now back to like what I'm talking about, and now back to a more personal note. My cousin recently got married. She's AS like me. We're literally soul sisters because a lot of things we share in common. I don't know if she's going to see this video, but if you're seeing it, hi Chi. So she recently got married, and I was talking with her mom when we were in the village, because we had to go down to the village. Well, it was beautiful, but like as traditionally, the first part happens in the woman's village. Yeah. So we're talking with her mom one time. She wasn't there because some of her friends came. She was practically busy. I know her mom has reiterated about this genotype thing to me, but this time around she really went in depth. Now my auntie did microbiology, but she focused more on genetics. Now, speaking from experience and even what she's handling right now, she told her daughter that you are AS. If any man comes into your life and you know the person's genotype and it's the same thing with you, you have to find a way to end it, because I'm not going to approve that. I am not going to approve suffering for my own child. I'm not going to do it. So this my cousin had a lot of good men who came around, but they were AS. It was devastating. I'm sure at some point she was like, I don't even know again. And she just practically just lived her life until her Prince Charming came and he was So my point being that parents too have to be involved in their children's lives, especially when marriage comes. I know in African homes, a lot of African homes, there's no communication there. So it's like, okay, I bring a man. There are other things that are asked, basically financially, but then health-wise, nothing is asked, and it's wrong, because you shouldn't be giving out your child because, oh yeah, you want marriage in your house, then you give out your child, and then you don't even know what the other person, like the health status of that person. So parents, any parents that's listening to me, when your child is about to get married, whether it's your son or it's your daughter, when you're getting involved, get involved intentionally. Your goal should be that this person that your child is going to live with has at least a level of sane status in their life. What's their health profile like? Honestly, I'm going to put that podcast in the link below. Please try and listen to it. If you will not listen to it, at least help me share it to people so that people will know about these things. It is high time we stop making mistakes that our parents back then, our uncles and our aunties made because of love. They didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Guys, it is terrible to see someone who is going through this sickle cell thing. It is horrible. I watched my friend have this crisis in school. Sometimes she's in class, the next thing she's not in class. And what really pains me about them, people who struggle with this, is that it feels like it's at the end of something really significant in their lives that they just go. I'm saying that because a lot of stories that I've heard of people who have sickle cell and eventually died, it goes like that. One thing, they are here, and then they finish this and they're gone. My sister told me someone in her school, even if she was done with her exam, she was a first class student, she died. So many stories like that. Now this is my friend that just passed. I'm told, or someone shared on the group, that she had just finished defending her master's thesis and she became sick. And when one of our friends called her, the one that called me earlier, said when she called her, spoke to her like, how are you, hope you're all right, she came to her mind, you know. And I really want to speak about this. When you remember someone, I think you should reach out to them. I know it can be, I think I'm going to talk about that later. I know it's somehow when you reach out to someone and they just treat you anyhow. But please, if you can, reach out when you remember someone. So that was exactly what happened to this my friend that gave me a call. All she said was she wasn't feeling too well, that she should pray for her, and boom, babe was gone. I really don't know how the parents want to go. I don't know how it feels. I don't know how it's going to feel for them. It's terrible. Growing up, I was told it's really a sad thing to see a parent bury their child. It's supposed to be the other way around. It's really sad. Once there's a health challenge, a little complication can be the end of that person's life. So you listening to me, fall in love, experience love, explore love, but do it wisely. There are things that you should be in the know about this other person that you want to do life with. So, do you know your genotype? Do you know it's crazy? Hey, it's crazy that some people don't know their genotypes. Hey, God have mercy. And there are a lot of information. In fact, I'm going to put one here. There are lots of informations on genotypes to marry and not to marry. I posted something on my WhatsApp sometime, and one guy asked me, Abi said he doesn't know his genotype, and I'm like, he should go and find out. And the response was like, is it going to get me money? Something of that line. I'm like, whoa. So if it's not bringing you money, you're not going to find out what your genotype is. So you're going to find a lady that you want to marry, and you go ahead to marry the person, and you find out that you are not compatible genotype wise. What are you going to do? But anyways, do you know your genotype? Do you know your genotype? Now, where are you doing your genotype? It's very, very important that you choose wisely where you are doing your genotype test. Yes, I know it can be a whole lot trying to do your genotype, like to know your genotype in a government hospital, but I would really recommend that you know your genotype through a general hospital, through a government hospital if you're in Nigeria. Then if you're abroad, find a more maybe government, but then if you know a private clinic that you're very sure of, because you really have to know, and you have to be careful where you are doing it so that they don't give you a wrong result and then later you find out. So it's like we've had people say, oh, I went to this clinic so place, this was what was told to me, and now I'm here and this is, so I really don't know what my genotype is. So they have to start again and then try to know what their real genotype is. And sometimes it happens with people who are HIV positive. Sometimes they go to this place, they say no, you're not reactive, and then they come to general hospitals and they are reactive. How do you bring that information to people? So please make sure you find time. If you're too busy, find time and know your genotype. It's very important. And when you know your genotype, please be careful with who you choose as your partner. You really need to know your partner holistically. You really need to do, and I'm emphasizing medically, because yes, you want to have fun, you want to do all the good things. You can't do that with someone that is not too strong. But then, if you are in the know of what your partner is going through and you still want to kill him, make sure you do that with a sincere heart and don't abandon the person halfway. Because what goes up comes down. Okay, so I said I was going to say something briefly, now time has gone. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Please pray for my friend and classmate. God rest her soul. Amen. And her parents also will be comforted. And yeah. Anyways, I just got that off my chest on YouTube, but a more detailed one is on the podcast. So please do well to listen to it. Until my next video, guys. So bye from me now. Cheers and stay well. Bye.